Hey, folks. Welcome back to another episode of the Legends of Sport podcast. I'm your host, Andy Bernstein. This episode brings you two interviews with directors that were part of the NBA Summer League Film Festival in Las Vegas. Our first guest is Archie Gips. Archie and his partners Mark Wahlberg and Stephen Levinson's production company, Unrealistic Ideas, are part of the group responsible for bringing the NBA Summer League Film Festival to life. Archie and I have a lot in common, and I really enjoyed meeting him and chatting with him during this interview. Our second guest is Martin Guigui. He is the co-founder and president of Sunset Pictures and director of the terrific film Sweetwater, about the life of Nat Sweetwater Clifton, the first African-American player to sign an NBA contract. This season marks the 75th anniversary of that momentous occasion and the breaking of the color barrier in the NBA. So, thanks again, everyone, for tuning into this episode. Enjoy it, and as always, I'll see you on the backside. So, I got a new friend. Archie Gips, we met yesterday here at NBA Summer League.
That's right.
So nice to meet you, by the way. A fellow New Yorker, fellow Mets fan. We bonded over that. If you were a Yankee fan, we wouldn't be sitting here right now.
That's true.
No offense to the Yankee fans out there at Legends of Sport universe. So Archie, tell me about why you're here, your history. First of all, I've read your bio, and I'm extremely jealous because you ended up at the school I should have gone to, which was Syracuse. The Newhouse School had just opened. My dad wouldn't pay for it. Next thing you know, I'm going to UMass. So anyway, that's a whole other aside. But tell us about the film festival, summer film festival going on this weekend.
Sure.
Or this week.
Yeah, no, it's incredible.
Yeah.
So the Summer League Film Festival is started by Albert Hall, and we were brought in to my part. I should start with I'm a partner and president of a production company called Unrealistic Ideas.
Right.
My partner is Mark Wahlberg, along with Stephen Levinson, and so we were approached by a few people who started the Summer League Film Festival last year, and because now Mark lives in Las Vegas, it just made a lot of sense for us to become a part of this and help build it up into something pretty big.
Right.
Yeah.
It's become huge. I mean, the thing is going on all day long, all night. There's films being screened. You got Q&As. You got some celebs walking around. It's really a bona fide film festival. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I think it's really just the tip of the iceberg, though. I mean, what I've been saying is, the major film festivals are basically Sundance, which a lot of people know about, South by Southwest, which is in Austin, Texas, and Tribeca, which is in New York.
Right.
Those are the three that a lot of people know that are in America. Obviously, there's ones outside as well. But
Yeah.
we really see this as the potential of, in Las Vegas, having sports meet film. In the same way that South by Southwest has music and film, this is going to be something that I think more and more people are going to be coming to. And it's the thing that I love about it is because I've never been to Summer League before, and it's such a cool environment.
Yeah, it really is.
A lot of people bring their families on trips, and they have their kids being able to watch tons of basketball games. And this way, you can pop in between a game, and you go and you watch a film, and maybe there's some kid that loves basketball, but then he pops into the film festival and he sees a movie and he's like, oh my gosh, like, I'd love to make a film. And all of a sudden, he has a new dream.
Yeah, or they get inspired by the story. I mean, I knew Nate Robinson's story. I didn't know it that well until I saw the film, which was amazing the other day. And the fact that it's short, it's all short form, right? It's not no full length.
No, there are. So
I didn't see any full length ones.
It's a great question.
Yeah.
What they wanted, what we've been doing is just showing like anywhere between 10 to 30 minute segments of features, just because we know that it's hard for someone to sit through an hour and a half or 2 hour doc. But they just little bite-sized pieces of it, so people will be interested and potentially want to see the rest of the film.
And as part of a film festival, primarily to get films seen, but also get bought so that they get actually aired or put in movie theaters or whatever?
100%. And what we're trying to do is also, and there's an incredible team. There's so many people that are a part of this. Dion and KG, Kevin Garnett. I mean, and Big Percy. Can't leave him out. But the idea is to allow athletes who want to have production companies or want a production company to basically give them some knowledge and tips from folks like us who've been doing this for 20, 30
Sure.
years.
Yeah.
And so it's not just a way for them to show their films, but it's also giving them like a film education. Much like when the NBA rookies come into the league, they might meet with someone about their financial
the rookie
literacy.
transition program they call
Exactly,
it. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So this is sort of that. Like,
Yeah.
hey, you're going to be making a lot of money. You might want to build a lot of content. How about you talk to guys like us?
Yeah.
And just doing it at, it's not like we're getting paid for this.
No,
It's just
no.
like we want to be able to share our knowledge with athletes so they could get to where they want to be when it comes to the content they want to create.
No, it's a fantastic idea, and you and I have seen like every athlete on the planet now has a quote-unquote production company.
Yes.
And they have their content platforms, and which is wonderful. But what's going to distinguish one from the other, and the other, and the other? And being able to come here and talk to people like you, who are seasoned veterans, and Mark, and your other partner Steven, and all of the other folks around here, like on the still photography side, I love talking to young photographers. And we're talking about for the sports business classroom next year, incorporating visual, visual storytelling with still and video. So maybe we'll talk about that. But
100%.
But I think it's really important for there to be a centralized sort of platform for that to happen. And it's great it's happening here. Like you said, you can go in between games, pop in, you hear a Q&A, you see a little bit of a film. Then, by the way, that film is going to be on Amazon. I want to see that.
Yeah.
So it's great.
No, and the other component is we work and deal with the buyers on a daily basis, right? Like you said, Amazon or Netflix.
Yeah.
And so they might make something that is incredible, and we see it, and you see it, but the buyer may not be interested in it. But if you change this or do this and tweak it, they might be interested. So it's also, because you never want to tell a filmmaker what to make, but we could say, look, this is what you have here. This is what they're buying. So maybe how do we get from A to B?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what we're trying to do as well.
So tell me a little bit about your relationship with Mark Wahlberg, because I know Mark just very sort of, at arm's length. He'd come to Laker games, and he'd sit in our Emmanuel seats, and I obviously photographed him. I actually probably photographed the progression of his kids growing up.
Yeah.
Always have some Boston reference, if it's a Red Sox hat, or I think he came to a finals game with his brother who was wearing a Celtic jersey, which didn't go over great in Staples Center. But he's a unique guy, Mark. I mean, he's got his hands in so many things, and you're involved with so many of them.
So many. I mean, first of all, he's like a brother to me. I worked on the show Wahlburgers, which is how we met, and I got to know his mother incredibly well, and all of his brothers, his family. So I think through that experience, he built a level of trust in me. And Mark's like one of the most loyal guys in the world, and so that's how we kind of established our relationship and friendship.
Yeah.
I would say about 90% of the calls and the times I'm talking to Mark or face-to-face, it's him talking shit about the Jets, the Knicks. I mean, of course,
all
that
your
Boston
favorite
thing.
teams,
And of course, all my favorite teams are terrible compared to his.
Yeah.
Like the Patriots' domination over the Jets and the Celtics' domination over the Knicks.
Yeah. But what goes around comes around, because I seem to remember the Knicks beat Boston in the playoffs this year. But of course, he'll point to Tatum was out and blah, blah, blah. But
that's exactly what happened. And I gloated for like the entire week, and he just wouldn't have it. He's like,
Yeah.
But no, we have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah. No, I would love to sit down and get his view on all of this, because, somebody in the business, he seems to be somebody who wants to pay it forward.
Absolutely.
Which we all do. At our age, this is what I'm all about. Kobe was all about passing it on to the next generation, the craft and everything.
He does that so much. I mean, I know that he's talked to lots of athletes about, financial literacy and things like that. And he is incredibly generous with all of that. And I think I find myself to be an incredibly hardworking person with amazing drive. I am not even like one on the meter compared to Mark.
So you're not getting up at 4 a.m. to do your workout, and then
I have to wake up sometimes at 3 so I could
talk to him.
film what he's working out. But no,
That's hilarious.
His work ethic is unparalleled.
That's crazy. So you've been in LA how long? Have you lived
A
in
long
LA?
time.
But your allegiance goes back to your New York
Oh
teams,
yeah, still
obviously,
Mets,
right?
Jets, Rangers, Knicks, always. I'll never change.
Yeah.
I'm allowing my kids to root for the Dodgers because
this pseudo New York team.
pseudo. And my daughter, it's so cute. She wears like a Mets jersey and a Dodger hat, and she's like, "Go both teams!"
Oh.
Like, that's her.
That's
but
awesome.
you know, so
Yeah.
I still have massive passion for New York sports.
You know,
and-
I have to commend you because you're one of the first people I've met. I've been in LA now 48 years who actually stayed a Jets fan. I mean, I grew up a Jets fan in the late 60s, you know, when they won,
Right.
Namath, the whole thing. And then, like, everybody went off the bandwagon. You know, nobody, I don't know
can't do
anybody
it.
besides you who's a Jets fan.
You know, I have such a twisted perspective now. I'm like, if you're a Chiefs fan, like,
Yeah.
what fun is that?
Yeah.
Like you're winning. Who cares? Like,
Right.
when you are like broken down,
Yeah.
and you never won, like the Jets and the Lions and the Browns.
Right.
Like when we win,
Yeah.
it's gonna mean so
It's
much.
going to be, well, it's like being a Clipper fan, you know.
100%.
And God bless Steve Ballmer, what he's trying to do and the culture and everything else. I would love to see a banner up in his arena before I call it quits, you know.
I would love to see that too.
Yeah.
I definitely I love the Knicks, but if I'm rooting for an LA team, it's the Clippers for sure.
Yeah, it's funny. The last thing I want to say about that was that I was recently at the opening of the Hall of Excellence, which if you haven't seen it, it's Tom Brady, Jim and Fran Gray opened this beautiful Hall of Excellence in the Fontainebleau Hotel. Tom has all his rings displayed there and some great memorabilia that Jim had acquired over the years and people lent. And when I went to my wife and I went to the opening, and I had never met Tom Brady. So, but got like a minute with him. He was super gracious. And I
Yeah.
said, Tom, I just got to tell you, you know, all the rings you won, I was a Patriots fan like way before that when I was at UMass. And he goes, you're the one? And I said, yeah, I remember going to Foxborough, the previous stadium, and they were terrible.
They were terrible.
Terrible.
I wish they still were terrible.
But that, but that's a true fan that
Yeah,
stays
no.
with their team. You know, I had that with the LA Kings. I worked for the Kings. This is
Yeah.
my now going to be my 47th season working with the LA Kings, my company, and they were terrible back in the early, mid to late 70s and early 80s. And then I go, you know, fast forward 2012, Dustin Brown's hoisting the Stanley Cup on home ice.
Yeah.
And there's people in the background I recognize. Guys are holding signs saying that now I can die. You know, and that's what sports is about. And those are the stories that we love to tell.
Except they
So-
beat the Rangers in the cup, and that broke my heart.
Dude,
But
that's
that
something
was a
we'll talk
crazy
about later.
series.
But for me to go back
Right.
to the Mecca, the Garden, where I grew up,
Yeah.
Ranger fan, was tough. I mean, it was not an easy thing for me.
well, it's so funny you say that because, you know, having the business with Mark and the relationship,
Yeah.
I've had the chance to meet so many amazing athletes.
Mhm.
I've worked with Gronk, Julian Edelman, Mr. Kraft. They're the nicest people in
Yeah.
the world.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you're like, I hate these people. I hate them. And then you meet them, you're like, I can't hate them. And
That's so funny.
You know, it's just like you're so torn, but they're all really, I mean, Gronk and Edelman are just two of the nicest people.
Yeah,
you'll ever meet.
and I love what these guys are doing now post career. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Gronk is like Shaq. I mean, he's doing like every commercial out there.
100.
And Edelman, I love his platform. You know, his pro-Israel stuff. Everything is. I follow a lot of that, and I really love what these guys are doing. That's what Legends of Sport is all about.
Yeah.
What happens after we leave the game. So.
And that's what Summer League Film Festival is all about.
There
right?
we go.
Yeah.
Now we're kindred spirits.
Yeah,
So, Archie,
exactly.
thanks so much,
Of
man.
course,
Great to
appreciate
meet
it.
you. I love what you're doing. This is growing every year. Everyone who's watching this, make plans next summer to come out to Summer League, see some great hoops, see some great films, meet some great people. So, thank you so much.
Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate
Thank
it. Okay.
Well, a surprise guest on the Legends of Sport podcast, Martin Guigui, my friend, the great director.
Oh, thank you.
Just happened to see you out there at the concourse with your son, your wife.
Meant to be, love basketball, so
Yeah.
where else?
Well, thanks for joining us, man, and jumping on set. You
Oh,
know,
no, we love you too, man.
Yeah, listen, man, your film, Sweetwater, was amazing.
Oh, thanks.
All the kudos in the world and all,
Thank
you know,
you.
all the great accolades that you've gained from that film, and very well deserved, my friend. Tell me
Appreciate
about that
that.
project, though, and tell me what intrigued you about Sweetwater Clifton's story.
It caught me. So I haven't said this. I saved it for the Legends of Sport.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I haven't said this in any of the interviews I've done. And thanks
Yeah.
for your kind words. I was sitting in a parking lot in Burlington, Vermont,
Yeah.
where I was living in 1995, and in the Staples parking lot. And I was listening to, it was 94 or 95, and I was listening to the Pacers and the Knicks playing in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who the announcer was. And there was a substitution, and it was in the third quarter. And I don't know why the announcer said this. It's probably better I don't remember his name. And he said, and I'm listening to this on AM radio.
Yeah.
And he says, wow, look at that. 5 players for the Pacers, white players. That's the first time I've seen that in a while.
Oh, my God.
And I thought, well, did he just say that?
That guy's still working?
I don't know if he's even alive.
Yeah.
But
wow.
It did trigger something in
Okay.
me. Because I always grew up in Manhattan. My dad took me to see the Knicks. And I saw the game of Earl the Pearl. I saw the game of Clyde Frazier. I saw, and when other teams would come into town, I'd see Connie the Hawk.
Sure.
And I thought, wow. And I started doing a little bit. I loved that game that was using imagination within the structure of a traditional basketball game.
Yeah.
And I was a fan, started doing the history, Elgin Baylor. I started looking at basketball and thinking, and then, of course, everybody, Dr. J, and then came MJ and LeBron and the rest. And I thought, where did that start? And, of course, my dad took me to see the Trotters.
Yeah.
But that was such a circus.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, there's got to be a genesis. Where was that birth? And I thought, and at the same time, I thought, okay, that's the game I love. Was it the influence of black culture into the sport like it is in music and blues that eventually converted to pop and country and et cetera, R&B and hip hop now? Okay, cut to a few months later, I'm on tour with John Lee Hooker and James Cotton. It's a blues tour. I'm playing B3. We're in Springfield, Mass. My first time there.
That's where I went to school. I went to
kidding.
I went to UMass in Amherst.
Okay. Meant to be. We might have. So this is a reunion.
What year was this?
95.
Okay, that was already out.
And boom, I say I got to go to the Hall of Fame. I've never been there. I do sound check. I run down there. I walk in, and it connected that tissue to that game and the comment, because I'm looking and I see banners of African Americans. I'm thinking, wait a minute, this is so embedded in that culture. Who was the first? I went to the administrator there and I said, hey, who was the first black? Like, who was the first? Jackie Robinson. Oh, let me see. Back then, there was no Google. And it was like a microfiche kind of thing. And it was like a library on this IBM computer. We don't have anything about that. What? The New Yorker in me felt like saying, it's the effing Hall of Fame.
If anybody should know, it's got
to be something in here somewhere. She sent me upstairs to the library. A gentleman who had been there for many years, kindly enough, pulled out an NBA encyclopedia, and it said, Earl Lloyd, first to play, Chuck Cooper, first drafted, Sweetwater Clifton, first sign a contract. The pioneers, black pioneers of basketball. And I thought, 3? There's a story there. And that just obsessed me. It obsessed me. And that's the long answer to your question.
That's the genesis of the film. Wow, that's amazing. I'm glad you told me that.
Only 30 years ago.
No, but what a great story. But Sweetwater Clifton was, technically really wasn't the first black player to play, right?
Correct.
He was the first one to sign a contract.
Yeah, and he was a catalyst. Good point. He was a catalyst because of his style of play. So when the Globetrotters landed in the Garden and they played the Minneapolis Lakers champions 1948, and the Globetrotters beat them. And then came back and had that rematch and won again. Everybody saw Sweetwater. And everybody, And
he was playing for the Globetrotters?
Yeah.
Okay,
he was a trotter. For only 2 he was there for 2 years.
So interesting.
Enough to be seen by the NBA.
Wow, that's
which
amazing.
Triggered it.
Yeah.
And opened the door.
But the story and his whole upbringing and the family and the whole thing, it just harkens to me, my great friend Spencer Haywood and his story.
I love him.
And there's a documentary obviously coming out soon about
so
him.
Glad about that.
And this should be the Spencer Haywood rule. I've said this many times on the podcast, and if my friends at the NBA are listening, we should have that, the 4-year rule
100%.
changed to the Spencer Haywood rule.
It's time.
Whatever. But, they were the pioneers, these guys, and they get some credit. I don't think they get enough credit.
Agree.
Jackie Robinson broke so many barriers, and rightfully so. He's honored across the board.
100%
in baseball
Yep.
and in sports, but in our sport, in basketball, that we love so much, I think that history is kind of overlooked, quite honestly.
I agree 100%, and it's so important for future generations because it's one thing to be inspired by stats or by a visual of, look at the way this guy threw the ball against the backboard, caught it in midair and dunked it. By the way, Sweetwater was the first to do that. And there is footage of that, thanks to the NBA, who helped so much in the making of Sweetwater. However, let's never ignore what you just said. This spiritual accomplishment, the chutzpah, to be able to step over a line fearlessly, knowing that's part of your purpose in life. That needs to be celebrated for future generations, because the future players and just people in general in culture can go like, and I'm getting chills now, which is like, okay, wait a minute. To move forward, to evolve, you need to be able to do that. And that takes so much fearless. You use that word.
Fearless,
it's a fearless thing that needs to be celebrated. I agree 100% with you.
Listen, a lot we can talk about, but there's a great book. You know who the writer Mike Sielski is from Philadelphia?
Yep.
So Mike wrote, I worked with Kobe on the Mamba Mentality book.
I love that book.
Thank you. Which is basically Kobe's life from NBA draft until the end of his career. Mike's book is basically Kobe's life from birth until the draft. So our
that's
book's
awesome.
Kind of like volume one, volume two.
It's a prequel, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly. So I became friends with Mike, and we did events together, and I've had him on the podcast a couple of times. But his most recent book is about the history of the dunk. And you need to read it. You need to read
I'm
it
really curious.
because the African-American history and the reason why the dunk was outlawed in college and why the NBA didn't want to embrace it, so the ABA embraced the dunk because they saw it as sort of a symbol of black culture. And at the time, we were going through a pretty heavy time.
And it opened up the game
division.
After MLK assassination.
It was, but it's super, super interesting. So I'm putting a bug in your ear.
No, I love that because, which is in the Sweetwater movie. Sweetwater is credited with the finger roll.
Yes.
Which is over the rim.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that really sort of scared a lot of people in the game and at the NBA, et cetera. At the time, the dunk was over the rim, and that was not something that felt normal at the time.
No, I mean, the case in point, David Thompson, one of the great dunkers of all time, could not dunk.
Correct.
He was prohibited from dunking in college.
Which is crazy.
And he was prohibited from dunking when he first got in the league.
It was a technical.
Yes.
I remember.
No, it was crazy. And, Kareem, of course, couldn't. I mean, it was one of the reasons he developed the sky hook. And, Wilt changed the game, and everyone was afraid that the game was not going to be pure anymore, and it was a bunch of old white guys who made that decision.
Correct. I agree 100. And by the way, I just flashed back. You melted away the years with this Legends of Sports moment that you brought up.
Well, that's what we do.
When I used to play ball at West 4th in New York City, I had hops as a youngster, and I could dunk a tennis ball, and I could dunk eventually after that a volleyball, and I never got called a technical. They actually encouraged it at West 4th. Yeah. Just know that. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, a white guy could do it. Sorry.
I'm white Jew.
I didn't really just say that. Anyway, my friend,
I didn't say
Martin, thank you for coming on, man.
Oh,
it's
pleasure.
so great to see you.
So
and to
great
see you and your family. And your son literally is a basketball savant, I must tell the world.
Noah Guigui. Yeah, look out. Here he comes.
First of all, the kid can shred a guitar, which I've seen. I haven't seen it in person, which I have to, but I've seen it on your Instagram. But you told me backstage, you said this kid predicted that OKC was going to win the finals. And by the way, we happen to be in Vegas.
Yeah.
So if you have a tip for next year, let us know.
Look out. We're rolling the roulette table right here. We're turning it into Legends of Vegas.
Yeah, right. Thank you,
buddy. A pleasure, man. Thank you.
I really enjoyed these conversations with Archie and Martin. I hope you all did too. Such a great bonus to now have the Summer League Film Festival as part of NBA Summer League. Can't wait to see what they have to offer next summer. Thanks everyone for joining us for this episode of the podcast. We are thankful to all our loyal followers. Please tell all your friends to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Legends of Sport, and our Instagram at Legends of Sport, and my photography can be found on Instagram at ADB Photo Inc. Thanks as always to our producer, Carlin Barker, and our editors, Sean Gosser and Addison Shao. We'll be back next week with another great episode. See you then.